What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, John, the creative blue collar guy, and we're back for the first short form video in quite a while. I'm doing a lot of live streams lately, going live every Monday and Wednesday afternoon, evening, depending on what time zone you're in. And sometimes life gets in the way and you just don't have time to record and edit videos. But this is a story that I have been following. I wouldn't even say I've been following it very closely, but because I keep reading about it, my phone keeps sending me notifications about it, and it just kind of keeps on getting worse. We've talked about this in a couple of my recent live streams, late to the party news every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as well as after work beers every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. But really quick before we dive into this, if you are new here, thank you so much for watching. I highly encourage you to please hit that subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications, and make sure it is set to all so you get notified every time I post a new video, a new short, or go live Mondays and Wednesdays. As always, make sure to like the video, share it out there for others to see, and sound off in the comments, because every little bit really does help the channel. But yeah, so more drama for the As I Lay Dying camp. I covered this in one of my recent live streams where multiple members had quit within a short amount of time, as well as a tour manager who the tour manager made the announcement that their European tour had been canceled. But no one from within the existing As I Lay Dying camp, which at this point looks like it's pretty much just lead vocalist Tim Lambesis, had yet to address anything that had been going on. So this one I think is especially interesting because Phil is, first of all, the last member to quit within the last few recent weeks, but he is the longest running member to finally quit. All of the other individuals who had left the band in recent weeks were fairly new members who had replaced the likes of Nick Hippa, as well as others who were also long running members who had left. They brought in replacements. Those replacements have now left. Phil was still hanging on, and now he's out. So things are not looking good for old Timmy there. Real quick recap. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably already know this, but if you're not aware, back in 2012, Tim Lambesis was arrested on conspiracies to basically have his wife off. Again, I gotta kind of be careful which words I use for YouTube. I don't want this thing to get shadow banned or whatever, but he hired a hitman, gave him the money, gave him the keys, gave him the gate code, gave him the address. Well, luckily for his now ex-wife, people had already gotten wind that he was thinking about doing this and had tipped off law enforcement. So the individual that he actually handed the money to and all the other information did happen to be kind of an undercover, cop, investigator, whatever you have. I can't think of the right term off the top of my head, but they did a sting operation on him. Tim gave the guy all the money and all the info, and he said, all right, you're under arrest. He was tried, he was convicted, so the remaining members of As I Lay Dying went on to form the band Woven War, which put out 2 really fantastic albums. But then As I Lay Dying reformed, and I think a lot of people were kind of thinking, oh, what the heck, like, this guy tried to have his wife offed. How do you reconcile with that? How do you come back around to that? And I will say, as a man of faith myself, I understand the importance of forgiveness and, redemption and reconciliation. And I don't know any of these guys personally, so who am I to say, what kind of conversations they had behind closed doors that made the other members feel comfortable to say, okay, yes, I think we can work with this guy again. But in recent years, I would say that not looking good. I mean, again, Tim has now remarried to another after, so obviously the wife that he was trying to take out with a hitman, obviously they divorced. Go figure. He married a second time, I think while he was still incarcerated. Those 2 divorced, and then he married a third time. So I would say your track record is already not really looking that great. But let's go ahead and jump into, I've got a couple different articles here, but this first one comes to us from Loudwire, where Phil, I have no idea how to pronounce your last name, Grosso, quits As I Lay Dying. he joined the band back when he was only 17 years old. And again, maybe not an absolute OG member, but very, very early on. I remember, so these guys hailed from San Diego. I don't know if, well, like I said, there's no band members left except Tim at this point, but I don't know if any of them still lived in San Diego, but I remember being just a wee young lad, maybe late junior high, early high school, when, again, I think Tim was the only member. So really, I guess this kind of is his band, because way back in the day, he had a band called Life Once Lost. And when I would beg and plead for my parents to drive me to these shows and drop me off and stuff, a lot of times they were at churches. These guys kind of came up in the Christian music scene. And there was this one church, really just 5-10 minutes away from where I lived, that would host a lot of shows. And it was this small little church that they would let the band set up in kind of one of their little multi-purpose rooms that didn't even have a stage, where literally, like, there was the band, maybe a thin little piece of masking tape on the floor to tell people, like, okay, band stands here, crowd stands here, and you're just right there, you're in their face. So when Tim had this band called Life Once Lost, back when he was all scrawny and shaved his head bald and had his big pointy ears, looked like a freaking gremlin when he was up there screaming his head off, I remember seeing him and his band way back in the day. I think at one point he moved away to Texas, did some other stuff, and then came back and then reformed the band as I Lay Dying, because there's another band called A Life Once Lost that came at him and were like, hey, you can't use that name, we've already got it. So changed the name, reformed the band, boom, we got As I Lay Dying. So because these guys hail from San Diego, I am kind of interested in this story. So Phil quits As I Lay Dying, citing concerning patterns of behavior in statements. Guitarist Phil Grosso, and again, apologize if I'm saying that wrong, I'm doing my best, I'm bad with names, has officially quit As I Lay Dying in a lengthy statement. He becomes the fourth musician to quit the metalcore band since October 18th, so in less than 2 weeks, all of the band members have all left. He is cited being a witness to, quote, concerning patterns of behavior, and that the band, quote, no longer offers a healthy or safe environment for anyone involved, which is really interesting because I feel like all of the band members that have left have made a very, very similar statement. After the departures of 3 members, Ryan Neff, Ken Susi, and Nick Pierce, who all 3 of those were new members, replacing other long-standing members that had quit in recent years, as well as an unaddressed, canceled European tour. Phil informed fans late last week he was aware of everything going on and would be issuing a statement in the near future. Following the guitarist's declaration of intent, As I Lay Dying broke the silence on social media. Rather than addressing the lineup departures in a canceled tour, which had only been confirmed by venues and support bands, the group instead elected to quickly clear up an entirely different issue, the disappearance of 2019's Shaped by Fire from streaming services. As I Lay Dying tacked on a small note at the end of the post saying they are still sorting through the details of what is going on within As I Lay Dying, and we'll have more details for you soon. Comments on that post were disabled. Okay, can I just say right now, I think that is the most cowardly thing that any public figure can possibly do. If you're any kind of celebrity, a musician, a politician, or whatever, if you're going to be out there on social media, I personally don't think you should be allowed to disable your comments. I just don't. I think that you're willing to put yourself out there, you need to accept all the hate and all the backlash and all the everything you're going to get. I get a lot of hate on here for a lot of my hot takes. People really didn't like stuff I had to say about Linkin Park's decision to move forward with Emily Armstrong, but I take all the hate in stride. Sometimes I respond respectfully. Sometimes I ignore it, whatever. But to just barely tack on that little thing of, oh, we're sorting through the details and then shut off the comments. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're a coward at that point. Like, let people say what they want to say. Now Grosso has shared his reasons for leaving the group, which he first joined in 2003. The guitarist claims that recent actions have shown that As I Lay Dying no longer offers a healthy or safe environment for anyone involved, whether creatively, personally, or professionally. Guitarist Ken Susi, who joined in 2022, who was replacing long-time running member Nick Hippa, who left in 2021 and didn't announce it for, I think, a full year, also mentioned that something recent is to blame, stating his personal morals were tested to a breaking point. Phil adds, after witnessing some concerning patterns of behavior, I've realized that I can no longer in good conscience enable further actions that could negatively affect anyone working within this space. He expresses full support for his trio of bandmates who all quit recently, also suggesting there are plans for the future. Over time, As I Lay Dying has been held back by dysfunction, and I feel that it's no longer my responsibility to bear that burden, the guitarist declares near the end. Hey everyone, thank you for your patience as I took time to gather my thoughts before speaking on the current state of As I Lay Dying. With recent events, including the departure of band members and cancellation of our European tour ahead of a new album release, it's clear we're in a different and serious situation. Simply put, recent actions have shown that As I Lay Dying no longer offers a healthy or safe environment for anyone involved, whether creatively, personally, or professionally. After witnessing concerning patterns of behavior, I've realized that I can no longer, in good conscience, enable further actions that could negatively affect anyone working within this space. For these reasons, I feel it's in my best interest to completely distance myself, both creatively and personally, from As I Lay Dying. I also want to share my full support for Ryan, Ken, and Nick, who made the choice to step away recently. I am grateful for our accomplishments and friendship over the past 3 years. With 21 years that I have dedicated to this band, it does not sit well with me to leave or abandon what I've considered to be my life's work. I don't feel that I or others should be forced out like so many have been in the past. After all that's been put into this, I believe that with the right adjustments and restructuring, our music can continue to thrive and explore new possibilities in a healthier environment. Over time, As I Lay Dying has been held back by dysfunction, and I feel that it's no longer my responsibility to bear that burden. Thank you to everyone who has shown support for me and the music of As I Lay Dying. I am looking forward to putting my energy and creativity into new and more positive ventures in the near future. So there's his statement that he posted on Instagram, and there's a lot to unpack there. But before we look at some of these other things, here's some stuff that says why the other As I Lay Dying members quit. The other 3 most recent members of As I Lay Dying quit over the span of less than 2 weeks. Interestingly, none of these musicians mentioned Lambus directly, instead showing support for the other members or simply expressing gratitude for the fans. All 4 members who have left the band have cited personal reasons, among others. See the complete statement from each member from this last month below. Ryan Neff's statement says, as of today, I've made the decision to leave As I Lay Dying. This choice comes after much reflection, and I believe it's the right step for my personal and professional journey. I'm grateful for the experiences and connections I've made during my time with the band. Thank you to all the fans for your support. Ken Susi statement below here says, my time playing with As I Lay Dying has come to an end today. I leave with so much gratitude for everyone who followed and supported me from my days in Unearth to this era of my career. I jumped into the As I Lay Dying camp with full knowledge of the heightened dramatic history, but had a drive to just play great music with great friends. Unfortunately, my personal morals have recently been tested to a breaking point, and it's now the saddest ending to what could have been the greatest second chance for this band. Ryan Neff is receiving a lot of backlash for stepping down first, and I regret not sharing this decision sooner and standing confidently with my friend. He is a flawless musician and an even better person. I'll miss you all on this stage, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Anyone looking for a guitar player, my resume is ready. Might as well throw that in at the end, right? Nick Pierce. As of now, I am no longer playing drums for As I Lay Dying. This is far from being the ending I anticipated, and I feel I need to distance myself from the band in an effort to retain my personal health and integrity. I want to express my deepest gratitude to everyone who followed and supported me through this journey. My goal has and always will be to create unforgettable memories with friends and write music that will truly resonate with our fans. I'm proud of what I've accomplished on the road touring, as well as writing and recording drums for the new album. Looking ahead, I am excited to continue my drumming career and pursue what I love most, which is making music. My touring and session schedule is now actively open for new opportunities. And this part gets a little spicy. Tim Lammis's wife, Danny, denies rumors of abuse. In the absence of an official response from As I Lay Dying or the current members of the group, Sugroso and now lone remaining member, well, okay, so this section of the article has to be old because now the only remaining member is Tim himself. Rumors began to swirl online about why the metalcore vets were experiencing these sudden changes in personnel. Tim Lammis's wife, Danny, addressed what she called unfounded rumors that her husband had abused her. One day prior, Danny had deleted her Instagram account, then restored it as private before setting her profile to public again once the new post went up. See her full statement below, which went out on October 25th. I'm writing the statement to address the recent rumors circulating on social media regarding my husband, Tim Lammis, and the allegations of domestic violence. It has come to my attention that false claims have been made suggesting that my husband has harmed me. I want to make it unequivocally clear that these allegations are completely false. My husband has never caused harm to me in this manner, and I am deeply saddened by the unfounded rumors that have emerged during this challenging time for his band. There has never been an incident that warrants such accusations. We have had our relationship issues like many other couples, but nothing to the degree of domestic violence or what is being portrayed online. It deeply saddens me that I find myself in a position where I must publicly explain my personal life and relationship because of flat-out lies. It is completely unjust that everything spread the way it did and nobody even considered my voice to be heard through it all. This is unfair to both Tim and I and our relationship. It is disheartening to witness how quickly misinformation can spread and the impact it can have on individuals and families. I ask that you respect our privacy during this time and refrain from perpetuating these harmful rumors any further. So that is an interesting bit to read at the end of all of this, where literally the entire band is falling apart, and there have been rumors of some very bad things happening, to which the wife speaks out and says is not true. It's not my place to speculate one way or the other. Unfortunately, it is not uncommon in situations like this where, for whatever reason, the woman doesn't feel like she can come forward or like she can tell her story or like she can be honest. So who knows? I'm not going to speak any more on that. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Let me know what you guys all think in the comments. Band have issued a statement addressing these events, but not without first talking about the album Shaped by Fire, which they claim had disappeared from streaming after the end of a 5-year distribution deal. It was first reported by Lamb Goat on October 25th, a day after Susie and Pierce issued their statements on social media leaving the band. The album has reverted back to being owned by the band statement reads. It will be put back online, but we just need a moment for the processing to take place. As for the departures, the band have chosen to withhold any further information for the time being, writing, "We are still sorting through details of what is going on within As I Lay Dying, and we'll have more details for you soon." So that part saying the album has reverted back to being owned by the band is interesting because depending on the contract, the band members who have left the band might still have some kind of say in what's happening with that. Just the timing of all of this happening is very interesting. Of all of their longtime running older members left between the years of 2021 to 2023. Now all of these guys have all left within a matter of 2 weeks. And they're saying the album was pulled down from streaming. It reverted back to being owned by the band. So I don't know if we'll get more details on that portion of the story, but it would be interesting to see if that had something to do with the members that had quit and we're just sort of like, no, we want it pulled down for whatever reason. I don't know. Because, I mean, if contractually they still have rights on it, they would still be monetizing something. I know, like, bands don't make jack on streaming and nobody buys music anymore, CDs, but maybe some vinyl, something, I don't know. But it's like, maybe they're just sort of like, I don't know, like, we don't really care about the royalties because they're probably not making much of anything off of it anyways. So that's their statement on Instagram. And in the other article, it pretty much says all the same stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the story for today. What do you guys think about all of this? I would definitely say, just looking at it purely from an outside standpoint, like I said, I don't know any of these people personally. I just know that this band hails from San Diego. I remember seeing them at a very, very young age when they were called Life Once Lost. But I would just speculate from an outside perspective with the timeline of events. It's not looking good for Timmy. Something is going on there. I'm not going to pull up and rehash all the other statements from like Nick and Jordan and the other guys that quit, but they kind of cited the same thing of, they came back together thinking that they could reconcile and have their friendship and have their band again, but just over time they said what brought the band back together had deteriorated and they could no longer in good conscience continue on doing music with this band. I personally would really like to see a reunion and a new album from their other band, Woven War, that basically when Tim was convicted and incarcerated, the remaining members from As They Lay Dying went on, like I already mentioned, forming a band called Woven War, and their 2 albums they put out were great. I would love to see them get back together, do some shows, maybe put out another album, but only time will tell. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this far through. Once again, if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, set it to all so you get notified when I post a video, when I post a short, when I go live. I go live every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Also, make sure to like this video, share it out there for others to see. Sound off in the comments. Every little bit really does help the channel. I am John, the Creative Blue Collar Guy. Thank you again all so much for watching. I will see you next time.